Okay, video 20. Today we're talking about dealing with food guilt and just improving your relationship with food. Okay, so this is going to be something that is important and is sort of an undercurrent when it comes to improving our nutrition. Okay, and honestly, when we, switch to a flexible dieting approach, a lot of the issues that we face kind of tend to resolve themselves, right? But I want to outline a little bit about like some of the basics about flexible dieting and how that's going to translate over to a reduction in food guilt and improvement in your relationship with food overall. Okay, so the first thing is realize that there's no such thing as good or bad food. There's no such thing as clean or dirty food, right? The example here is that if you have a carrot, which is quote unquote clean, right? If you drop it on the floor, that's dirty. So there's really no such thing as like clean or dirty, no such thing as good or bad, right? Instead, what we want to do is, view food on a spectrum of, nutrient dense to nutrient sparse. And we always want to try to be moving, our food choices from the nutrient sparse side of things all the way to the nutrient dense. And that's really, a constant effort and what we're trying to do all the time. Okay, the next thing is, I think one reason why this is also so important is because, this sort of moves you away from a kind of all or nothing, black or white kind of dichotomous thinking around food, right? And when you sort of develop, sort of thinking about food that way, it kind of leads to a really unhealthy relationship and also, makes it difficult for you to, view, sort of bumps in the road as, basically things that you can move through and realize that having that one Oreo didn't screw up your diet, because at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, it's your total calories that matter. And even if you exceed the total calories for the day, it's something that I'm going to dive into in the next couple of videos, but you still didn't screw up. Like I said before, the only way you can screw up is if you quit and you give up altogether. Okay, the next thing is that you don't need permission to eat any food. Okay, so that's something that I think is very important. And when through nutrition coaching, a lot of times clients may ask, can I eat this, can I eat that? The truth is you can eat anything you want to eat. You don't need permission from me or anybody else to eat food. Okay, full stop. How I want you to reframe this, right, is instead of thinking about whether you can or cannot eat something, ask yourself whether or not you will be proud of yourself after you ate that. I think that's a much more important way to assess, whether or not that food should be something that you are consuming at this point in time. And to give you an example, right, sometimes it makes sense, right, to, not eat the key lime pie, right, or that basically the lemon tart, right? But on other days, maybe it's your kid's birthday party, your anniversary, whatever it is, right? Then, then it might make sense to actually have that same particular food, which maybe you would have, chosen not to eat on another day. But the point is here that, there's no morality around food. Nothing is good or bad, right? What we want to do is, again, to improve our relationship, to reduce the guilt, is to put that power back into your hands, right? And realize that you are the one that has the power to make a conscious decision, an intentional decision, and that's what's most important.